Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2009 Chrysler Town and Country, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we check it out and make sure that this hitch is going to meet your needs. So when it comes to the Town and Country, you know, these vans are really capable, very functional vehicles, and people use them to do a lot of different things, whether that's, you know, putting a bike rack back here, maybe pulling a trailer around, whatever the case may be. You know, if it were me, I'd want a hitch that'll be able to handle just about anything you want to throw at it. And with this one here, it's going to do just that because of the size of the hitch and the weight capacities and things like that, which we'll get to in a minute. And not to mention too, I think it actually looks pretty good, you know, which is obviously never a bad thing. For the most part, it's going to be completely hidden, and really the only thing you're going to be able to see is a receiver tube opening, so it kind of puts off a factory look. Since this is a Class 3 hitch, it is going to give us that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. Super common size, and a lot of different things will work with it. At the end, you're going to have a reinforced collar for a little bit of extra support, and it's going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, pin and clip don't come with the hitch. If you need one, not a big deal. You can always grab one right here at eTrailer. And these safety chain openings, they're going to be a loop style and provide us with enough space to use just about any size hook that we might have. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have a 400-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating, and that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the hitch. So relatively high number, and you should be able to use just about any size bike rack, for example. As far as the hitch's maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 4,000 pounds, and that's going to be the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. So the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. The hitch can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component, and the weight capacities are going to increase a little bit if you use it. What that weight distribution is going to do is help keep your van and your trailer nice and level whenever you're towing it down the road. So if you got like a really heavy camper or something like that, maybe worth looking into. But as I said, the weight capacities go up. Tongue weight rating will increase to 500 pounds, and trailer weight rating will go up to 5,000 pounds. With all that in mind though, it's never a bad idea just to grab your owner's manual. That way you can make sure your van can pull that much weight safely. And not to mention, if you are going to be pulling a trailer around, you're going to want the lights to work on it. You know, that way everyone around you knows what's going on, and you'll be safe and legal. And to accomplish that, you can always grab some trailer wiring. I'm going to give you a couple of measurements, and you can use these to help figure out which hitch-mounted accessories to get. From the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 12.5 inches. So if you do plan on pulling a trailer around, chances are really good you're going to need to get a ball mount that has a rise in the shank. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper, that's going to be about 3.5 inches, and you can use that measurement to figure out that if any folding accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without contacting your bumper. But other than that, at the end of the day, a hitch you really can't go wrong with. You know, out of the ones available, this is probably my favorite. It's the one I would probably get. And that's because it's right on par with the others in terms of the capacities, how much it can handle. And so really to me, it would just boil down to how it's going to look. And personally, I think it looks the best. But obviously, that's just my opinion. As far as the installation goes, it's really not too bad. Really what's going to make a big difference is if the hardware that's originally in your frame rails, if that's really rusty, you're going to have to fight with those a little bit. If not, and they just come right out, essentially you pull the bolts out, put the hitch up, and bolt it up. So really shouldn't take you a whole lot of time if that's the case. But if you'd like to see how that's done, feel free to stick around. We'll go ahead and put the hitch on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be here underneath the back of our Town and Country, and we're going to be working on the driver's side first. So on our frame rail over here, we're going to have 3 factory bolts that we need to pull out, and we're going to be reusing these to secure our hitch. So just keep that in mind. This one here you can remove with a 15mm socket, and if you need to, sometimes these can be rusty. If you need to spray them down the night before, some penetrating oil or something, that might help out a little bit. But we'll grab our socket, get that one out. And then for the other two, we're going to use an 18mm socket. What we can do now is unbolt the end of our exhaust. And by doing that, it'll let it come down a little ways, give us some room to work. I do like to play it safe though and just put a strap here to help keep it supported. That way we can kind of control how fast and how far we let the exhaust come down. So the exhaust hanger that you're going to undo will be this bolt right here. So we'll grab a 13mm socket and pull it out. And with that out, we're able to kind of pull our exhaust down a little ways and give us some extra space to work. Over here on the passenger side, I essentially did the same thing as the driver's side, except you only need to take out 2 bolts. The 15mm head one closest to the back, and then the one right after that. That'll be an 18mm. Leave that third one way up front in, but now that we have our attachment points exposed, it's not a bad idea to clean them out. To clean out the threads, what you can do is just spray in some penetrating oil. Then you can use a tube brush like this. Just kind of work it back and forth, and that'll get rid of any, or help get rid of any dirt or debris out of those threads. So now with the next set of hands, we can take our hitch and get it into position. Passenger side, you obviously want to go up and over your muffler. And to hold this up, take our existing hardware and get it started hand tight. Want to get at least one going on each side. That way the hitch will support itself while we work on the rest of the bolts. So once the hitch is supporting itself, we'll get the rest of our hardware started. I like to get at least a handful of threads going, make sure that bolt is going in straight, not cross-threaded or anything like that. Once that's the case, we'll come back and snug them up. Once all your hardware is snug, you need to make sure and come back with a torque wrench and tighten all of it down to the amount specified in the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can always get one here at eTrailer, or a lot of times go to your local auto parts store. They'll have one there available to rent. Obviously over here on the passenger side, a little more difficult to get to because your muffler and everything runs right here. So there is quite a bit of movement in it though. So if you could have one of your buddies maybe kind of apply some downward pressure and pull this out of the way, that'll give you a lot more space to work and get your tools up into the opening. So once everything's torqued, I went ahead and bolted our exhaust back up, opposite way that we removed it. And with that secure, now we can go ahead and get our strap out of the way. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com Class 3 trailer hitch receiver on our 2009 Chrysler Town and Country.